Welcome back to our channel Study with AVAI. Those who are new to this channel, please subscribe and share the video with your friends and family. So let's have an overview of what we learned in the last lecture. Now have a look at the index. By the end of this lecture you will be familiar with all these topics. So without further ado, let's begin. Our first topic is limitations of parenting styles. These links between parenting styles and behavior are based upon correlational research, which is helpful for finding relationships between variables but cannot establish definitive cause and effect relationships. There is evidence that a particular parenting style is linked to a certain pattern of behavior. Other important variables such as a child's temperament can also play an important role. There is no universally best parenting style. So authoritative parenting is not related to better school performance. Parenting styles are associated with different child outcomes, and the authoritative style is generally linked to positive behaviors such as strong self-esteem and self-competence. However, other important factors include culture, children's perception of parental treatment. Social influences also play a role in children behavior. Moving on with parental expectations. Parental expectations is an important factor that has a direct relationship with students' school performance. Parental expectation is defined as the conviction a parent holds in his or her child's future level of achievement. The important determinant for children's education achievements is parental influence, because it provides economic resources to achieve higher goals. It serves as a role model, encourages specific targets, and recognizes and praises appropriate behaviors. In other words, if parents exert influence to create opportunities, children learn and are involved in learning activities, then children will actively participate in these learning activities. Moving on with transmission of parental expectations and value. The values of people in society have various identities, such as males and females, race, upper or middle class, and so on. And some of them are regarded as privileged groups and others belong to oppressed groups. These identities are important for individuals to shape their behaviors, attitudes, and experiences. The consideration is often called intersectionality. Gender is a sociological aspect which affects parental expectations. Expectations for girls in school have been different than for boys. Historically, girls were restricted from having the same opportunities in education as boys, and girls were raised to assume specific roles in society such as nursing and teaching. Nowadays, the position and options for girls have increased dramatically. Culture influences human thoughts and behavior from generation to generation may differ. Parental expectations can be contrasted with parental aspirations, which typically refer to desires, wishes, or goals that parents have formed regarding their children's future attainment rather than what they realistically expect their children to achieve. Moving on with our next topic, which is community. It is nothing but collectively the members of which share a common territorial area as their base of operation for daily activity. It is also defined as an organic natural kind of social group whose members are bound together by the sense of belonging, created out of everyday contracts covering the whole range of human activities. Community is a circle of people who live together and belong together in such a way that they do not share this or that particular interest only but a whole set of interests. Moving on with types of communities. Communities generally are of three types. These are geographic communities, community of interests, and virtual communities. Geographic communities share physical space. They meet with virtue of proximity rather than intent. Communities of se choose to associate with each other on the basis of common interests or shared concerns. For example, poor aid quality. Virtual communities are those who share space via mass media rather than face-to-face. It is also called online media. Moving on with the role of community. As you all may know, community is a socializing agent because it is where children learn the role of expectation for adults as well as for themselves. The community is the main setting in which children learn by doing. The facilities available to children determine what real experiences they will have. The idea of community may simply narrow down to support and interact positively with others who share a vested interest in the will of your global community. One may consider participating in random acts of kindness, acknowledging a passerby in your neighborhood or at work, attending community events, volunteering, meeting your neighbors, and many more. A strong community benefits the individual, the community, as well as the greater society. People of all ages who feel a sense of belonging tend to lead happier and healthy lives. Moving on with the neighborhood. A neighborhood is a geographically localized community within a larger city, town, suburb, or rural area. Neighborhoods are often social communities with considerable face-to-face interactions among others. Neighborhoods are typically generated by social interaction among people living near one another. In this sense, they are local social units larger than households, not directly under the control of city or state officials. Moving on with advantages of neighborhood. Advantages include they are common and perhaps close to universal, since most people in unbiased areas would probably consider themselves to be living in one. Neighborhoods are convenient and always accessible, since you are already in your neighborhood when you walk out of your door. Successful neighborhood action frequently requires little specialized technical skills and little to no money. Action may call for an investment of time, but material costs are often low. Visible and swift results are indicators of success. Since success is reinforcing, the probability of subsequent neighborhood action is increased. The studies of neighborhood boundaries in urbanization areas suggests that individuals' perceptions of neighborhood vary by ethnicity, age, sex, and whether the location is urban or suburban. Moving on with neighborhood focal points. There is considerable social inequality between neighborhoods, especially in terms of socio-economic position and racial or ethnic segregation. These factors are connected in that concentrated disadvantage often coincides with the geographic isolation of minority and immigrant groups. A number of crimes and health-related problems tend to come bundled together at the neighborhood level and are predicted by neighborhood characteristics such as concentration of poverty, racial isolation, single-parent families, and to a lesser extent rates of residential and housing instability. So now we have completed this lecture. If you have any doubts, feel free to ask in the comments section. Keep subscribing and thanks for watching.